Hey girls, welcome back to just another video of me. If you don't know who I am Catherine. I am the founder and the head leader of Girls Fellowship. So, welcome. I wanted to just touch base a little bit of what I've said earlier. If you watched it, if you heard it, then you know. If you haven't, then go watch it on YouTube where I'll put all the pieces together. But I did want to clarify something without meaning to call out anyone or hurt anyone. I think that as Christians, we need to call out the truth. And if you know me, uh, I have no filter and I just say things as they come. I say things with power and I say things with wisdom. And so I don't ever tend to hurt anyone when I do talk, but as Christians, I think that we need to be more bold and we need to say the truth and call those that don't do right. And so today, I know that my first part of me sharing what I've learned, what God showed me this morning, and I just want to say that um, my vision. And I know that my ideas or our creativity, even jazzes, I know that um, we might have the idea, we might just get the vision from God. Uh, but I've learned something. I think that this is the part where I want to be very clear of to say is that I know that I said something about like how they copy my ideas. I maybe don't want to take my words back, but I do want to take my words back because if you don't understand, then you won't get it. But if you understand, then you understand, right? Um, but I've learned that, and my mom has just really helped me understand this part because I couldn't do it on my own. And reading this and just being able to just continue to just learn from God and connect with God, I've learned that there's so many things that we do now that it was already done even before Jesus came. Like it was already done and started. It was already planted. It was already an idea of someone else that God used, that God really poured wisdom into them from the very beginning of the word. And so it really reminds me of Moses and how he wrote the first 6 books of the Bible. And God poured so much information because the first 6 books of the Bible is a lot of information. And so I want to just let you know this. When God gives you a gift, it does not necessarily mean you're gonna be the only one that is gonna have that gift. There's levels, different levels, there's different seasons where God necessarily uses and wakes up that gift, that spiritual gift in your life because it is the moment and the time that God needs you to use those gifts, those talents, that creativity, whatever that God has called you for. If it's a business, if it's a career, it necessarily does not have to be a ministry, a woman's ministry. But I've learned that if God, and my mom reminds me all the time, God used you to plant that vision in you because he knew that if he had told them, they wouldn't have catched it. But when you literally surrendered and you said, God, use me in every way that you want. I'm all yours, Lord. I am all yours. You allowed and you opened doors. spiritual doors where God says, okay, girl, you said it, girl. And that was me back in 2024. I was 5 months postpartum. I had just had a baby. And I remember just saying, God, I want to be used. I want to serve you. And I want to do it differently. I wanted to. I've always been that type of girl who I want to do things differently. I don't ever desire to do it like everybody else. And I remember like growing up, my mom's like used to be like, why can't you just be a normal girl? And I used to be like, I don't want to be normal. And I think that even then I did not understand what God had for me in the future, for me for today. But I knew that I was not meant to be unique. I mean, I wasn't meant to be um normal. I wasn't meant to be like everybody else. I was meant to be very unique because my strength, my ability, and the way that I think, in the way that I do things and say things were gonna be really, really different. I was going to be the girl who would take the first step and jump the highest mountain. And there's people that are afraid to do that. And so I know that God gave me a vision, and he said, you will use it. You're going to be the first one. You're going to be amongst the many um that are at the beginning. They're going to call you crazy. They're not going to understand. They're not going to get it. But I want to say this, that even though God gave me a vision and there's so many things that I do now, um that we do now, because Girls Grow is not a me group or ministry, it's an us ministry. I've always humbled myself like that. I've always um always said my my vision was God used me for it, but the girls, every person that have I have come across with through this ministry make up who Girls is, and I give them full credit of it. And I never hold the title of a leader or the founder or none of that up here. And I think that's something that um God really has showed me, is that I he grant me a title. He put me up here for a reason. But the same way that he got me up here is the same way that he could drop me down there. And so I've learned to just humble myself with everything that he gives me, with every idea, with every decision that I make with Girls. It's always been a we. I've always had someone that I could literally go to and be like, I think I really want to do this. I think this is what God is trying to tell me. Now I love, and I think I don't know if she'll agree with it, but I love the friendship. I love the relationship, the teamwork that me and Jazz, our co-leader, have built. There was one day that someone told us that it seemed like we were friends forever. And I just love that, because that was something that I desired to have someone that would just push me to like the unlimit, um, the unstoppable, the one that believed in everything that God was doing in us. And this girl has truly been that woman in my life that has truly believed and seen my vision that God has used me for. And she has created it. She's behind a lot of things. She might as well be my manager at this point, because she's the one that has pushed me into doing bigger projects, that have motivated me into this. And I think that's what um, being humbled and obedient is, and being allowed to like, yes, God gave me a vision, and now because of this one vision, all these other girls are able to I was cut off there. A lot of girls now get to recreate it, and I love to see that. I love to see that what God, you know, gave me the vision. He used me because he knew that I would be quick to follow his instructions. I would be quick to go and do what he had called me to do. And I know that on social media, like you see things like you quickly want to, try it. You want quickly. And I love that. But I'm someone who I follow a lot of women's ministries, a lot of just content creators, faith-based pages, and when I do see something that I'm like, "Oh, we should do it." I always like their video or their pictures or whatever their posts. I always comment like, "Oh girl, that's a really good idea. Like I love it. Like I should try to recreate it or something like that." But one thing that I will tell you is that um, when you do that, when I do want to get inspired and I come on TikTok or YouTube or wherever, something that I've always done and I've told Jazz is that pray about it, because Jazz is super creative and I owe it to her because she's, oh man, she's amazing. And she'll bring me all these ideas. And then I'm like, okay, let's pray about it. Let's go pray about it. And I think that is where the difference comes from. You don't just go and see something and you just copy it because, oh, you liked it. No, 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 no. I think that when you're in ministry, um, you have to be wise of what you do. Like, did God call you? Did God tell you to do that? You know what I'm saying? And that's where that whole they used to judge me. They used to um think that I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't good enough to be a leader. I wasn't good enough to lead. But now it's like the same ones that used to think of me less than are the same ones that copy me. And it might not be intentional, it might be intentional. It might just be like, oh, she thinks she could do it, I could do it better. Man, that's between them and God. But I've learned something, that if you're expecting because you want to be seen, if you're doing it because you want to have more likes, more followers, you are doing it for cloud, you're doing it for a title, you're doing it because you want to prove a point, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And I've learned that if it's not for the God, then you ain't doing it right, and that's something that I've really learned this year as girls has grown, is that everything that I do is prayed for. Like before I make a decision, I talk to God, like, God, I really like this. Like, I think that we would be great for this, but is this what you need me to do? Is this where you want us to go? And if he tells me no, me and Jazz I just say it's just not the time right now. Like I don't see it, like I don't feel it. And then there's times that God really speaks to both of us, and the next morning we're just like, we gotta do this, and I'm like, Jazz, that's the same thing I thought. Um, but I will tell you this. I'm definitely I could definitely say that I'm different because I don't do it for the title. I don't do it for the cloud. My prayer all the time, and I tell the girls all the time, is God, just one person, God, just one person that sees this post, one would come to realize that you are the Lord of Lords, you are the God of gods, like you are the one and only. And salvation, freedom, new life comes to that. I don't expect that person to stay in girls. I don't expect them to give me credit for it, or put me down on their testimony. I never, never expected a title, a thank you, and I've never expected claps. I've never expected nothing. I don't do it for anyone. I do it because I love God. God caught me in a season where I didn't think I was ready, and I didn't think I was going to be good enough for this mission, but he did. And if God sees something that I don't see of myself, I'm going to trust it and I'm going to believe it and I'm going to run with it. And so I just wanted to really share that because I definitely didn't want anybody to get it twisted, you know, with what I said earlier. But I just want you guys to know that if you're doing it for a title, if you're doing it for fame, if you're doing it for clout, if you're doing it for more followers or content or whatever it is to be cool, to stand out, for people to know your name, you got you got to get checked, baby. You got to get checked. Like you got to really have that conversation with God. Um, but you know, I love that, that other women are standing up, Christians are speaking out. We're using platforms that Moses didn't get to use. We're reaching more and more people. Moses didn't have social media, um, but Moses was obedient. um, Esther, Jesus didn't need social media to mm, to change history. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody in this book didn't need to. All they needed was a yes, a surrender, a complete surrender, and to never give themselves credit for it, but credit to our Father in heaven, the Creator, the God of gods, the one who called us, who has called all of us. We all uh, were meant to be different. We all have different gifts. We were called for different seasons. Um, and I hope that this encourages you. I hope that any leader, um, men or women that see this, I hope it encourages to know that don't do it for a title, don't do it for cloud, do it because you truly want to serve your God, because that's what I do it for. I love serving my God, and I love Him getting me out of my comfort zone, and I enjoy it. And when I see women's life really change, I'm like, that's all you. That's all you. Like, people are always like, thanks, Kat. And I'm like, glory to God. That's all Him. I'm just the messenger. I am just the girl who said yes one night. So I encourage you to um, reevaluate who you do it for, why you do it for, and truly surrender your whole life to Him. And man, He's gonna use you in ways that you've never imagined. So, you guys have a good one. I love you. And um, remember that you definitely have a sister here who will encourage you, who will walk hand in hand with you, and the one that will definitely pray for you here and always. Um, love you. Always your girl's girl. Bye.